I think you know the gist of this video. I really don't have to explain it, do I?
You guys already know what Super Smash Bros. Is. Everyone and their grandmother has played these games. So I'm just gonna save you some time and link you to my Smash Ultimate review in the description or in the card up top. However, in case you're short on time, my opinions on these games have not changed since making that video. And now that Smash Ultimate's been out for 5 to 6 years and the last patch coming out like 3 years ago, many are asking, where do we go from here? There are so many videos out there of people speculating what a new Smash game would be like post-Ultimate, and although I'm still very content with what we have right now, it's fun to speculate on what could be, you know? I do think Nintendo would be fools if they didn't port Ultimate to the new rumored console. I mean, they could just pull a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and include all the DLC, touch up the visuals, add a few more fighters, songs and or modes, more Mii costumes, quality of life fixes, well-needed balance changes, roll back netcode for online, and BAM! Instant money printer. However, reality is a cruel mistress, and a reboot is kind of inevitable, since the roster that we currently have has a 99.99% chance of never happening again. So why don't I throw my hat in the ring and tell you what a reboot could be like?
You know, in my defense, this was far funnier in my head than I thought it was.
Just remember, these are my opinions, and if you are hurt by them, I know you're someone I don't want to be around. Oh, and if you have any thoughts or changes that you would like to make for this theoretical reboot, toss them in the comments below. I would love to read them and see what you guys think up. Though, for the sake of tradition, let's shake up the graphic design a bit and maybe throw in a new voice actor for the announcer. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Let's start with the roster, as that's the first thing people think of when a new Smash game is on their minds. I took Ultimate's current roster, Echo Fighters and DLC included, and then trimmed the fat, you could say. I cut fighters that overrepresented a franchise that I think made no sense to be in Smash anymore, or to get out of legal hell with certain third-party fighters. Sora is not coming back, and I will die on that hill, goddammit. I did set one rule for myself, though. Do not touch the original 12. You know, all these guys. Aside from that, anything goes. With this GitHub thing I found called Roster Maker, linked below, here's what I came up with. This made-up roster has 70 fighters, 80 if you include the inevitable DLC. Not far from Ultimate's final roster of 86, I realize, but the focus here is on newcomers and returning fighters getting brand new kits. In Ultimate, you can kinda tell who's been around for the longest. Some characters really need to be decloned, and others desperately need new kits entirely. Also, give these fighters new voice clips, because some of them are either ass old or they just reused them from other games. And with headphones on, you can tell. With the newcomers, I wanted to include either no-brainer picks, balance out franchises that really didn't have a lot of representation within, bring back kits from other cut or altered fighters, and maybe throw in franchises that haven't been represented in Smash yet. You could also leave room for other factors, such as some inevitable new Fire Emblem characters, a new Pokemon rep, Sakurai's personal picks, a retro pick, and maybe some surprise popular pick here and there, I don't know. I also want to see a new Mii fighter type. We have Brawler, Sword Fighter, and Gunner, so why not introduce the Mage? Their moves could be pulled from Miitopia, plus other games that the Mii's made a prominent appearance in. Or just make an original kit as a way to bring back Heroes RNG without the 1 in 8 crit chance. No, I'm not letting that down special go to waste, that shit was fun. It would also give me an excuse to take certain Sword Fighter costumes and put them in this new Mage class. Seriously, look at these and tell me with a straight face that these are swords. That's just a horny stick!
Wait, who are you?
Like I hinted at earlier, DLC will be inevitable for this game. I only wanted to talk about the base roster here. Although, I actually do like the way they handle the Fighters Pass in Ultimate. You know, one fighter, one stage, and a bunch of songs? Sure, let's do that again. But also include the Mii fighter costumes in the past too. Smash 4 Wii U and 3DS did this, by the way, so there's no excuse there. Oh, and with the way that I set up the roster, we could have one DLC fighter be a newcomer and the other be a refreshed returning fighter. Doesn't matter if it's first or third party, by the way. Traditional fighters already do this kind of stuff, by the way. Back to the base roster, let's briefly talk about the newcomers I kind of chose. For the Mario series, I was originally going to add Toad as a no-brainer pick, but I think we already have a lot of these characters as is, so my only true cut is Piranha Plant, and Dr. Mario could just be an alt for regular Mario, as originally intended for Smash 4, by the way. Also, Daisy's still here because her moveset could, focus more on the Mario Sports spin-off titles as a way to further declone her from Peach. And now let's talk about the actual new fighters. Funky Kong's surfboard has quite the potential for a unique moveset, right? Some of DK's old moves could be repurposed, but he would primarily use the surfboard like in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and maybe some of the guns he had from DK 64.
You've used your last call, partner.
Nish.
Bandana D could pull from the many Kirby games he's been in. I think it's about time we got a new Kirby rep. And just like the DK crew, I actually couldn't cut anyone there. Urbosa could bring an electrifying twist to the Sword and Shield combo. I did cut the other two links though, because there's too many links. This one could either be a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet rep, or the inevitable new Pokemon game. Well, I did keep some of them, it's not like I cut them all. I mean, Greninja stays because he's pretty much the most popular Pokemon. I actually had to look this up, by the way. And I couldn't touch Pikachu and Puff for obvious reasons. The others, gone. I'm sorry, Pokemon fans. Since Ganondorf in this fictitious setting is getting a refreshed moveset befitting of the Dark Wizard who wields the Triforce of Goddamn Power, it would make more sense for Black Shadow from the F-Zero series to have his old Brawl and Smash 4 moveset. Also, changing Falcon's kit would be a sin, so he gets to keep his 20-year-old moveset. Why add another F-Zero rep? F-Zero 99, enough said. Okay, this one's a bit of a strange pick because it's a Star Fox rep, and Nintendo hasn't done anything with Star Fox since Star Fox Zero back in 2016. But I feel like Miyu and Faye could replace the Ice Climbers as the 2-in-1 fighter. I know having the equivalent of Fox Climbers would be terrifying, and it kinda is, but I'm sure some tweaks could be done for the sake of balance. Whatever those tweaks are for whoever's working on the new game. Octolink's kit could pull from Splatoon 2 and the DLC Octo expansion, but they could have their design from Splatoon 3 so the entire trilogy is represented with one character. Don't worry, Smash Bros does this kind of mishmash of timelines all the time. Oachi over here is my personal funny haha pick, either on his own or paired with the captain from Pikmin 4. Anything's better than having another Olimar clone. Besides, the series is doing quite well right now, so what's the harm in adding another Pikmin rep? Okay, this one's kind of a no-brainer pick since Xenoblade Chronicles is doing really well right now. It didn't get nominated Game of the Year at the Game Awards for nothing, you know. So I just threw in Noah to fill in the roster, but with the question marks here, you could basically replace him with anyone from Xenoblade 3. Within reason, of course. Shadow is also another no-brainer pick, because, well, it's been the Sonic-only show since Brawl, but his moveset would pull from his debut game and Sonic Battle. You compare that with Sonic himself, where he'd probably have a more Frontiers and Boost era-focused moveset, mixed with Sonic Battle for good measure. They can also both keep their down B spin dash and neutral B homing attack, though. It's the equivalent of Mario's Fireball, you know, you kinda need to have it. Zero brings in the Mega Man X representation. Again, he's a bit of a no-brainer pick. And there's a lot of stuff he could pull from, not just Mega Man X. If you want to stick with the classic era though, Proto Man and Bass wouldn't hurt. Alucard is yet another no-brainer pick who was considered for Ultimate's roster at some point. And just like Zero and Shadow, he'd be a former assist trophy turned playable fighter. This happened like 3 times before, by the way, so... Viola could just pull from her kit from Bayonetta 3, but, you know, tweak it a bit for the sake of balance. She's certainly not lacking in options, though. And Bayo herself would need to get new voice recordings for pretty damn obvious reasons. And honestly, I don't really need to explain why I cut the Square Enix reps. You guys should know why. Though, Hero has a higher chance of coming back since Mario and Dragon Quest did collaborations for a bit. And they did that a lot, too. What the f... It makes far too much sense for Crash and Conker to be here. Crash is a platforming icon, and, you know, he should be treated as such. Conker, on the other hand, could be like a surprise retro pick, complete with a modern new look that isn't, you know, this. And since they're both under Microsoft now, it really shouldn't be an issue. Trust me. Yep, I am out of my goddamn mind. I wanted to throw in another Sega rep, but I struggled a bit on who that Sega rep would be. I did consider Kiryu from the Yakuza / Like a Dragon games, but the game's director doesn't want him to participate because Kiryu doesn't hit women. So you know what? Billy Hatcher it is. And if Sony and Insomniac are willing to play ball, which let's face it, they won't, then Ratchet & Clank would fit perfectly in Smash Brothers. I did consider Jonesy from Fortnite at first, but he'd fit better as a Mii costume for the gunner. I mean, I could be wrong, he could be the final surprise DLC character for all I care. Speaking of DLC, you can basically just put in whoever you want, but I kinda wanna see more indie reps, you know? These two are shoo-ins for Smash, though. For stages, I mostly want to focus on brand new stages because the old stages are really starting to lose their luster at this point. I do like how Brawl handled the old stages. They just got their own page. Same with the DLC stages in Smash 4, so why not do that again? The Battlefield and Omega forms are a good idea, just make the Blast Zones the actual Battlefield in FD. Oh, and can we actually get a design refresh on those stages, please? The Desolate Wasteland and Space motif is getting really old. In terms of gameplay, I would love to combine the best of both Melee and Ultimate, while also throwing in some quality of life fixes and updates. Things like tweaking the game's buffer system, making directional air dodges less sluggish, having fast landing like for all, tweaking dodge scaling and tech limits, and just stuff that'll make the experience smoother. I'd also try and even the playing field for both competitive and casual players. Okay, stay with me now. Here's my solution. Make competitive techniques easier to pull off. Making this kind of tech more accessible to casual players is, I think, a great way to close the skill gap without putting competitive players at a disadvantage. Other traditional fighters have been doing that. Hell, even other platform fighters are doing this. This is something I know Nintendo is never going to do because of their relationship with the competitive community, and in my eyes, they really should have just left them alone. Sure, you can throw them a bone every now and again like you did with the invitationals from E3 2014 and 2018, but just don't stifle them. They're not going away no matter how many DMCAs you throw at them. By the way, one of my buddies actually brought up something very interesting with dodge stealing, because I told him I planned on removing it, but he had this idea. Dodging in quick succession could either give you a higher chance of tripping, or it could cost a bit of your shield. I honestly thought this was a pretty interesting idea, though I think tripping is a little extreme, so I would kind of choose the second option. In terms of modes, I would pull from every Smash title and maybe throw in some new stuff. For example, I would love to add a tag team mode as a special match type, akin to something like Squad Strike. You could tag the other fighter you've selected to continue a combo or just swap out if you're in danger, like a bitch. Aside from that, what Ultimate had in the Smash section was perfect. I really don't need to change anything there, except maybe some quality of life tweaks, like ordering the fighters and stages by series and not by series introduction. What I want to touch upon is the solo and online stuff, since those were very lacking in Ultimate. Though, if I went into detail, it would take a while, so let's just speed run through this. Ultimate's classic mode was perfect. Don't change it. I'd make All-Star mode like Brawl and Smash 4's. It should be obvious because All-Star was very underwhelming in Ultimate. With Stage Builder, I'd say build upon what Ultimate has, but give players more control and fewer restrictions. And fix the camera within these stages, for God's sake, this is annoying. It's about time we bring back Break the Targets, even if they might take Brawl's approach with the stage design to save time. Though, give them time to cook, they might actually cook something up for every character, who knows. Given how many bosses are in Ultimate, I'm kinda shocked there's no boss rush mode in the game. Like seriously, there is none. No, I'm not counting the final boss rush section in World of Light or Sephiroth's classic mode. Those event matches could hide many more references. More than you'd think, actually. Besides, Brawl had both a story and event matches, so what's stopping them from doing that again? Having the enemies be Miis that are saved to your system was actually pretty clever. And I'd also bring back Rival Smash from Smash 4. As well as every multi-man Smash enemy from the series as, cosmetic options. I would also love to bring back Smash Run. That was a really fun mode from the 3DS game. The only thing I would add to it is a free roaming mode, so that you could just explore the large stage to your heart's content. Now it's even more like Kirby Air Ride! Also, keep Challenger's approach. That was a nifty little quality of life improvement when unlocking fighters. I also want to throw in something for the folks who make machinimas, the return of camera mode. This was a special mode in Melee that allowed you to control the game's camera in real time. It took the 4th controller slot, so you could only have like 3 fighters at a time. You were supposed to use this mode to take pictures, but others used it to make cool machinimas. Short movies made within the confines of a game engine. So imagine that mode with Ultimate's already stellar camera system, which allows for 1 to 7 players instead of 2 to 3 players at a time. I love that idea just thinking about it. And since Nintendo loves taking ideas from modders, whether they're aware of it or not, why not add a skin maker to the game? It would only allow you to change the colors on fighters and use them locally or online. This could also apply to the Mii Fighter costumes as well. For online, bring back the For Fun and For Glory system, and maybe throw in online co-op for some single-player modes. I don't know, it could be fun to play Smash Run online. Also, please change the netcode. Go with rollback instead of delay-based. That new console you're working on should be able to handle it, right? Oh, and shared content needs to make a return. Just make it easier to search for specific things and bring in actual moderation because good God, the amount of bare asses and titties I've caught in this mode is alarming to say the least. I can't show any of it here, so my source is just trust me, bro. At least I can safely say me and the boys fought on bouncing boobs to determine the best waifu.
You know, it's funny. Even though you and I both know they aren't real, you choose to fight for your waifu instead of cowering in the corner like everyone else. It's something your friend had to learn the hard way. If she breathes, she's a thought. Oh, you're approaching me?
You know full well I can't beat the shit out of you without getting closer.
Oh, then come as close as you'd like.
How long have you been fighting like this for?
I don't know, past few days I want to say. Since a lot of fighters nowadays have a proper story mode, let's do that again here. I think Brawl's Subspace Emissary was a fine story. I mean, the story itself was not the best, but it was a pretty meaty 8 hours, which I think was fine. A bit long, but fine. Better than World of Light's 30 hours of spirit battles. Look, fully completing that was a form of mind-numbing torture that I actually did, and I don't ever want to do it again. So why not do what Subspace did, only this time, you know, make it a bit shorter and tell a different story. Maybe something with more oomph and higher stakes. What would the story itself be? I'll save that for another day. Just don't get mad if the cutscenes get uploaded online. It came free when you became a game developer, you know. If spirits have to come back in some way, though, I'd rather treat them like stickers from Brawl instead of this gacha system. In Brawl, stickers added stats to your fighters within the story mode. Nobody used it, but since spirits already serve a dual purpose as collectible PNGs and stat boosters, you know, why not take what spirits did in Ultimate and just, you know, apply it to stickers without the gacha mechanic? Spirits was a fine idea, it just had an okay execution at best, annoying at worst. Give them time to cook and trophies might actually come back, who knows. And that would be my version of Super Smash Bros. Post-Ultimate. Some changes could be made to this hypothetical reboot, as, you know, it's not perfect, but all I ask is that the gameplay and modes deliver the same enjoyment that drew me into the series in the first place. Besides, I discovered Smash Bros. Through those Brawl machinimas that were very popular at the time. Not all of them aged well in hindsight, but it got me to buy and play the game, so that's gotta be a success in my book, right? I know the developers will deliver regardless, but I just don't want them to screw it up and damage an already very fragile public image. I've got a feeling something really bad is about to happen.
I'm going to have my fun with you. Say, we do make quite a team out there. Would you like to train with my team for the next doubles tournament?
I'm game. I'll see if I can get a few others on board too. Could probably get Mini-Jade, Green Boy, or maybe even Joker one day.
Oh, shoot! That's right, I forgot to go pick him up. See you around, darling.
Tell him I said hi! What a day. Well, speaking of Green Boy, where is he anyway? Oh, hey, there you are. You completely missed
Move!
Huh? Sephiroth.
Using my own tactic against me. How quick. Now, I shall show you true.
Hold it! Hold everything! Mind telling me why you're doing all this?
Because it's fun to do. Almost as fun as the time I leaked Cloud's personal tapes.
Well, that's not a good excuse. Wait, Cloud's what now?
Cloud's personal tapes. You know, the explicit kind.
Wait, that clip at the Italian Senate, that was your doing?
The opportunity was too good not to.
Wait, that actually happened? Yep. Apparently Tifa's now Italy's new prime minister because of all that.
I did not know that. The only thing I remember from that was the attention they both got. The many rumors I heard from folks were quite juicy, to say the least. And I just got to sit back and laugh because it's funny to mess with Cloud's love life. After all, he's too fun to tease.
It's interesting you'd admit to all this because Cloud is right behind you.
That silly trick won't work on me.
Okay, time to get you home now. Wait, dude.
Good to see you, Cloud. Can we talk about this?